Sure.
So we'll go ahead and share some of the content we want to share, and then if anybody comes in, they can ask questions.
Cool.
But welcome to anybody that's signed in to our first Google Hangout for GRS. This is a new medium of communicating with our members and our supporters and our friends, for us at least. And we're going to try to do this once a month. We're going to start off with a new monthly digest that goes out the week before, kind of recapping what's happened the previous month. And then we're going to have the Google Hangout just to answer questions to anybody that wants to dial in and ask us questions and connect with us. We're going to have some guest speakers each month. Of course, tonight it's just me and my new beard. And but in the succeeding months, we'll have different speakers. Some of them will be board members of GRS. Some will be partners we're working with. And next month, we're going to try to have this happen on the second Tuesday of every month, except for next month. We need to do it on the third Tuesday next month in June, because we're going to be in South Korea speaking at a conference at Kyungnam University on the second Tuesday, and so we would like to do this June Google Hangout from our office in Beijing. And so we'll be in Beijing, China in June, and hopefully have some guests that will join us and be able to answer questions as well about some of our programs. And so that will take place June 18th, I believe. Is that right, April?
Yeah.
Yeah, June 18th. Same time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. For those of us that will be in Asia, it will be 8:30 in the morning, Wednesday morning in China. And you can look up the other time zones if you need to. So tonight we thought we would just kind of overview where GRS is at and where we're going, and then you can either chat with us on questions, or you can look this up later and ask us questions, and we'll follow up with responses and try to keep the conversation going month by month. I know there's been a lot of bad press and tension between our two countries and our main focus, which is in the DPRK. But GRS has been trying to move forward on our new initiatives, and actually we have, for those of you that are familiar with GRS, we've had a 20-year plan that we've been working, and it's 3 phases, and we're actually transitioning into phase 3 right now, which is economic development and education and more of a consulting role. And so we're moving full steam ahead with that phase 3 transition right now. I want to clarify, that doesn't mean that we're not going to be doing some of the traditional programs that GRS has done in the past. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to be working on our Micronutrient Program for at-risk mothers and children in North Korea, but we're also going to be starting some new initiatives and putting a lot of our energy and resources into pushing forward into economic development, which we see as really the end goal and the kind of the end game of where we want to reach, which is reconciliation. So just briefly, for those of you that are not familiar, if you're on, 3 phases. Phase 1 is humanitarian aid and relationship phase. That kind of, the timeline of that was 1997 through about 2002, and then phase 2 we transition, which is more development phase, which instead of giving out humanitarian aid, it's more of partnering with communities to solve problems. And the communities have to have a 50% investment into the project. So all of our phase 2 projects have a 50% investment from the communities that we worked in. An example of that is in the Haepo community, which is in Gokseong County, North Hwanghae Province, where we have a comprehensive community development program there. We've done water development. We have a soy farm. We have a urgent care clinic that we not only built but helped equip and train, and we also have a swine project. And that is kind of a comprehensive program where the community had to put 50% of the resources in, and then we brought in some of the resources and helped solve a problem. And today that program is pretty much self-sufficient. They're producing, 400 to 500 tons of food every year from those projects on their own. The urgent care clinic operates on its own, and it treats about 150,000 people from about 4 different counties. The water distribution system, obviously, is continuing to pump water and provide clean, fresh water to these communities. And to give you some perspective, when we first started going into that community in 2000, probably 1 or 2, you would see a steady stream of women and children going back and forth to a lake with containers and wagons to haul water to their homes. Today, if you go to that community, you don't see anybody going back and forth because they have these clean water wells. There's 4 different wells and distribution points they can go to and get water, and some of it actually distributes all the way to the end user and also to our soy farm, to the hospital, and places like that. So that's kind of just a quick example of a phase 2 project. So now, as we move into phase 3, what we're trying to do is actually take some of these phase 2 projects, these community development projects, and convert them or transition them into a commercial enterprise that could actually produce some kind of revenue and income for the community. It might be from trading with other communities for resources, but it actually could involve some export. It could involve other types of business. And so obviously with the complications between our 2 countries and the sanctions and things like that, there are a lot of let's say, complicated maneuvering that has to be done in order to follow all the laws and the regulations. But there is margin and there is space to do business today. And that's what we're trying to develop is an alliance of people in the U.S. who are willing to try ventures and to try different type of programs that could be a commercial enterprise, and that we're going to provide a structure and a consortium of people that can help advise and consult along the way to make sure that they understand how to operate in the DPRK. And that's where we've developed in phase 3 is this idea of USAID, which is the United States Special Committee for Economic Engagement with the DPRK. And I know it's a long title. That's why we say USAID. But the idea is for U.S. entities. Now, there are European groups and there are different groups that are doing this type of thing, and we're not trying to duplicate what they've done. We're trying to build on what they've done, but provide a mechanism and a means for U.S. citizens to legally and appropriately try to engage economically with the DPRK. And that's what the whole purpose of phase 3 is for. Because we want to see real business happen. We want to see things normalize. We want to see the DPRK become a normal part of the international community. And so that's what we're doing in phase 3. I know it probably sounds kind of pie in the sky and something out there that's impossible right now with the current context. But GRS has always been trying to be ahead of the curve and trying to drive and be a catalyst for change. And I think we've been able to do that through phase 1 and phase 2, and now it's time to basically light the fire for the transition to happen with phase 3. So I'm going to stop after that overview. Let me just kind of add one caveat to that. There's been several people, because we've done some conferences. We did one in D.C., we did one a few other places, and people have said, how come we've never heard of GRS before? Well, the reason why you've never heard of it is because intentionally for the first 16 years of GRS and the DPRK, we purposely tried to stay off the radar. If there's any journalists call in, I mean, obviously you're going to do what you want to do with what I'm saying tonight, but we have purposely for 16 years tried to just do our work very quietly behind the scenes, trying to be effective, not trying to get any kind of attention or any publicity. We're not trying to dramatize anything, not trying to get involved in any kind of movement one direction or the other, but just try to find real solutions and work with partners and build good relationships. and work towards our end goal of reconciliation. And I think we've been successful at that. But as we move into phase 3, there is a need to be a little bit more, engaging the public and let them know what we're doing, because there's such a cacophony of voices out there against doing anything with DPRK that we feel like it's important for people to understand what is possible, what can be done, and how to try to find a solution instead of just continuing to accentuate the problems and the challenges. We understand the problems and challenges, but we're trying to find a solution. And so that's why we're trying to be a little bit more public about what we do. We're trying to share it with a broader audience than we've done in the past. And that's one of the reasons for starting the Google Hangout, is to see if we can connect with some different people that might be interested. And to be honest with you, we need a lot of people to support us in doing this. We need help because it takes a lot of resources to do this. And it's one thing to try to raise funds for hungry children, which we still respond to and help, but it's also important that we try to find real solutions so that the North Koreans can take care of themselves and we don't have to provide aid all the time. So let me stop with that and then see if there's any questions either from the chat line, or if somebody wants to dial in, or if April wants to ask questions, or whatever we want to do.
Well, it looks like we have more RSVPs on our Google Plus event page. Just that no one's actually joining the Hangout per se. Rob, I do have 5 questions that I frequently receive from potential supporters. I can go ahead and ask those questions now, or we can wait a little bit more until someone wants to.
Why don't you ask one of those questions that people have sent in, and then we'll pause a little bit, and if some other ones come in, we'll answer that, and then we'll go on to the other ones that you've received previously.
Okay, sure. So our first question is, what differentiates GRS from other U.S. NGOs operating in the DPRK?
Yeah, and I would say that, in many ways we do many of the same things that the other NGOs do, and we cooperate with the other U.S. NGOs. We're a part of what's called the USNGO Council, and I participate in that. And whenever there's a collaborative effort, like the food program we did in 08 and 09, we help out in that, and we work together because of our experience and the personnel that we have. But I think maybe what differentiates GRS is that what I've just referred to is that we try to kind of push the envelope and not wait until everything is developed and in place and appropriate and approved to move on to the next level, but to try to make things happen. We try to be a catalyst for that, and that's why we're doing this phase 3 work, is to be a catalyst for change to happen so that U.S. businesses might be able to get engaged wherever the margins and the spaces are, even though we're kind of behind compared to the European groups and the other groups. We still want to try to be a catalyst for the U.S. groups. So I think that differentiates us from the other groups.
Great. It looks like we have one participant who was brave enough to show his face. Andrew, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi there. Good to join you. A little late here.
Can we see your face, or?
Unfortunately, not where I am right now, but at least I can see yours. Am I the only one here?
There are definitely a lot of people watching, but not actually participating in the Hangout. I think.
Aha. Well, don't let me interrupt. Please continue.
Well, right now, Rob is asking answering some questions that we frequently receive from our supporters. And so he's open to answer any of your questions if you have any.
Yeah, and Andrew, I mean, if you have some specific questions too, we can answer those, even though in this public setting, there may be some we want to reserve offline, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as I'm coming in late, I'll let you answer other people's. Are you seeing them on a chat?
I'm either receiving them over email or text.
Yeah, well, Don't mean to barge in, but I'm eager to listen. So go ahead, Dr. Springs. I'm sure you have many fantastic things to say. You don't even need questions.
Well, go ahead. What's the next question, April?
Yeah, sure. The next question is, what are GRS's flagship programs this year and in the final phase of the 20-year master plan?
Okay, so one thing that we want to do, first of all, is not neglect some of the programs that are ongoing right now. So as we move into phase 3, it's important that we're able to complete some of the other projects that we've started. So, for example, I already talked about HAPO a little bit, but let me talk about the Micronutrient Program just briefly. We started this Micronutrient Program 3 years ago. We're starting the 4th year of it right now. It was targeting every pregnant mother in North Hwanghae Province. In North Hwanghae Province, there's about 540,000 people. Roughly 32,000 women are pregnant every year. And because of the food shortages and other issues, we tried to respond to that province to say, let us provide with a significant generous donor micronutrients that are specially formulated for pregnant women in order to help reverse malnutrition. 1 in 3 children in North Korea are malnourished, and so we saw this as a way to reverse the cycle of malnutrition, at least in that one province. Now, so we don't want to neglect that program while we're starting phase 3 projects. So as I speak, the final 4th year shipment, because it was a 4-year commitment, of micronutrients is being packed right now and ready to go. We have a shipment of nutritional food supplements going to a pediatric hospital that just arrived this week, and we have a team going in next week. But by the end of June, we will have the 4th year shipment of micronutrients arriving. And so we're planning to be there to monitor the distribution, to make sure everything's going well. It's been a very successful program. We're talking about how can we transition that program into phase 3. In other words, instead of just giving out micronutrients, how can we make this effective program that's actually helping in the malnutrition problem, but make it more of a phase 3 type project? And one of the things that we've talked about is the possibility of manufacturing the micronutrients in country. And then a portion of it will be distributed freely like we're doing now, but a portion of it might actually be sold. And that money could go back into making the program self-sustainable. So there's an example of one of the things that we're trying to transition from phase 2 to phase 3, but yet trying to maintain and protect the legacy of what we've done and not just drop everything we've done. Likewise, we have other programs. We have the soy farm where we're producing tofu and soy milk and soy oil. All of those products, with a little bit of help and a little bit of investment, could become a commercial product that could be sold, that could be actually exported. So we want to transition those programs that way. But we're also we're meeting with people from the Joint Venture Investment Commission. We're meeting with people from the Ministry of Foreign Trade, and we're discussing with them what kind of joint ventures can we get involved in. And of course, we have to check that with lawyers to see what's legal for us as U.S. citizens to do. But what can we get involved in that we might be able to help engage economically in the DPRK? And so that's one of the things that we're working on as well.
Great. So our next question is, how does GRS partner with the DPRK government in carrying out these programs? These programs, meaning these 3 programs, and why has GRS been successful? Yeah, and please provide a narrative example if you have any.
Yeah, well, we've traditionally tried to partner with, we've always had one primary partner in the DPRK. It's usually been an agency that's been designated to work with NGOs, non-governmental organizations. When we first started, it was the Flood Damage Rehabilitation Committee, so FDRC. Then that transitioned into CAPUS, which is Korea America Private Exchange Society, which focused on exchanges between Americans and Koreans. And but throughout the 16 years that we've been working there, we've also tried to build relationships with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Culture, the Ministry of Sports, and all the different ministries, as well as educational institutions and hospitals. And one of the distinctives of GRS is we always say honor relationships. So as we transition and work with different groups, we don't ever want to leave someone behind. We want to include them in the process. They may choose themselves to say, this is not for me to be involved in, and that's fine. But we want to let them know that because we've worked with them, that they are invited to the table, if you will, to sit down and talk about new projects. And so that's always been a distinctive of GRS, and it's always served us well. As we make this transition from phase 2 to phase 3, that's a challenge that we have to overcome right now, because some of the agencies we've been working with in the DPRK obviously are used to us working in phase 2 and phase 1 projects. And so as we start talking about commercial enterprises and interacting with the Ministry of Foreign Trade, interaction with the Arbitration Commission or with the Joint Venture Commission, there may be some confusion on their part about where do they fit into this. And so we're trying to work through that right now with them. But we've always felt like it's important to establish solid relationships that are respectful with all the different interlocutors in the North Korea, and that's what we've done. And so we've been able to, not necessarily all the way up to the top. We don't have the contacts that Dennis Rodman has, but we've been able to work with people all the way up to, I would say the operating level, managing level of the different ministries. Did that answer that question, you think?
That was a long answer, but yes.
Sometimes I have a habit of going long, so.
Well, it's better to be thorough than really, really brief. So our next question that we frequently get is, who are GRS's donors and what programs can donors financially support? It's a very important question.
That's a very important question. It takes a lot of money to do what we do. And we have very generous donors. We have had for 16 years. Some have been committed to us for 10 years and then dropped off, and then some have been committed to us since the beginning. We have some donors that have stayed with us for the whole time. You'd be surprised probably to see that our board of directors, many of our board members have been a part of GRS since the beginning. And it's a renewable board, and they have to be voted in every year. But we have several board members that were founding board members that are still with us, and they continue to support GRS and continue to promote GRS. So as far as our donors, we have a very diverse base of donors. We have private donations. We have churches that donate. We have some faith-based organizations. We have corporations that donate, some cash, some gift in kind. We have foundations that we apply to. We've done some federal projects as well, like the generator project we did in 2007, which was supported by USAID. So we have a lot of different donors, and to date, we have not really had any donors from other countries. It's all been U.S.-based, but I'm open at this point to talk with anybody who's willing to support what we're doing. This transition to phase 3 is going to take a lot of operational resources, and so we're open to anybody willing to get involved and help us with our mission.
Great. Looks like we have 11 viewers who are not actually participating in the Hangout. But another question we received is, are there opportunities for involvement in ongoing and future programs?
Well, obviously there are, and right now we are looking for, we're always looking for people who have some kind of professional expertise that they can get involved, whether it's an engineer. We've taken 2 DPRK. We've taken electrical engineers, air conditioning engineers, diesel engineers, agriculturalists, We've taken educators of all kinds and professors, doctors, surgeons, just you name it, we've pretty well taken it to DPRK. And so we're always looking for people to get involved and help us. You don't necessarily, if you're a nurse, we've had a lot of medical people say, can I go and do clinics and treat people? Most of the time what we do is we work with the professionals in the country and consult with them and help them and advise and partner with them. So we're looking for people that are willing to take their expertise, go to the DPRK, and share it with their counterpart in the DPRK. And so, pretty much any field you can think of is a possibility. One of our goals was to have a database of experts and consultants, and we'd like to have like 10 people deep in every field, because a lot of times we get a request and we've got 30 days to turn it around. We got 30 days to find somebody who can go and help solve a problem. And so we're wanting to build a huge database of experts that are willing to be available and be willing to go and provide their expertise. But as we go into phase 3, there's opportunities for business people now that have business ideas that they would like to. We've got a lot of ideas actually that I can't share with you on this forum, but if you become a member of USAID and you become one of the insiders, we can share some of the actual business opportunities that are available that you might want to invest in and be a part of. And so we have a lot of business opportunities to get involved. So, and then we also have our conferences that we have twice a year. The one for the summer, we're kind of leaving it loose right now. We haven't set the dates because there's several things that we're wanting to have it all converge at the same time. As soon as we get those things converged and confirmed, then we'll be announcing the dates for the summer conference. That's another way to get involved and learn about what we're doing and meet the people involved.
Okay. I think those are the last of our questions. Are there any announcements that you want to make, Rob?
Well, let me repeat in case some people came in after we made the initial announcements.
Sure.
That our plan is to do this Google Hangout every second Tuesday of every month, except for June.
Yes.
Because in June, we're going to be traveling in Asia. We've got a speaking engagement on the second Tuesday at a university that is going to conflict. So we're actually going to do the third Tuesday in June, and it'll be at the same time, 8:30 Eastern time, but we'll be broadcasting from China, Beijing, at our Beijing office. I have potentially some guest speakers that are going to join us also from China. And we'll be doing our Google Hangout the third Tuesday. And of course, we'll send out notices of this and everything, but this is something we're going to try to do every month, and it'll be the follow-up to the monthly digest that goes out the week before.
Okay, great. So if there aren't any other announcements or questions, I think this marks the end of our Hangout. Andrew, if you have any private questions, I could end the broadcast and you can address your questions privately to us. So please let us know.
I think I'm okay, but I really appreciate you guys doing this and look forward to joining in the future.
Great. Thanks for calling in, Andrew.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to send questions to us, we can follow up in the days to come. So.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, please email me at april@grsworld.org. Again, that's april@grsworld.org. Thank you. I think we'll say bye now. Bye.